was in Midtown Manhattan just a few hours ago, and I said, it is so weird to be in Midtown Manhattan and then in Cornwall, Connecticut.
There you go.
Oh, on the same day.
Just,
You made it though.
Train or drive?
train. And they send up the full train. At that time, I took a 4 to 4 train out of Grand Central. 7 cars, and it was hard. There were like 3 people by the time I got off.
Or maybe going down in the morning?
I think they leave it there and then they bring, but, I mean, it was, I think of all the gas and the,
The next train, you know, tomorrow maybe that 4:15 will be full.
yeah.
Okay, I'll call the special meeting of the Cornwall Board of Selectmen to order. First thing on the agenda is approval of minutes of December 20th.
That'll be true.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Communication? Any communication?
It's been a lot. Hopefully they're all covered in the agenda.
Right, if not this week, next week, our next meeting, I thought we'd wait on appointments and things until we have a little more time and resolve example is more things to come for our next meeting. So, communications, public comments, any public comments? First thing on the agenda is state aid grants. I sent you a couple of letters we got from the Office of Policy Management last week, talking about midterm cuts to municipalities. You probably saw, may have seen on the news tonight, the governor made a big speech yesterday about his preview of his budget proposals. It will come out next week. There will be further state aid reductions. At this point, Cornwall education cost sharing money is
That was a joke, I laughed. 70%?
70% cut.
My God.
That's
So-
It'll cost them more to cut the check. Really just,
So it's down to $6,000,
yeah.
which is the
That
least.
like paper?
They will still take the $6,000, but it's the least amount of any
I know.
town. And other neighboring towns that gets over $1 million got cut 1%.
I was looking, there
So-
weren't many other people who had bigger cuts than us. Somebody had a 90, like Greenwich had a 90%.
Salisbury
I think
share.
the
Maybe
only
Salisbury had a
upside
big
to
one,
this is we don't anticipate getting much money.
Right.
We don't typically get much money,
Budget.
and now we're gonna get less.
Right.
So
Whatever we
We
get
don't-
is a
it's,
extra.
our position in this town is such that it's, on education anyway, that it's, we don't get much money from the state.
Right.
So losing what we get isn't as big a deal as it would be in some other towns. Rather have it than not have it, but
Right, but it doesn't make, for the towns, we're getting very little anyway, to cut them 70% as opposed to
Right.
similar towns that are getting a lot. Doesn't seem, this whole formula seems to be as crazy
Well,
as ever.
yeah.
It's
But
not
I
really
don't
a
tell you that.
formula, it's all.
that all being
That's all.
said, I think for Cornwall, our concern and fight should be on something that would have a much greater impact on us in terms of work to be done. The Torrington Area Health, you know, the health districts, I think that's a much bigger issue if they move
Well,
forward
just
on
as a
that.
state, if they would fairly execute the ECS formula,
It's clear that the state
it would be better in
budget,
general, not
budget
just
projects is being,
wing it.
their problems are being given to the towns. And these cuts are $60,000, which is a significant amount of money for a town of 1,400 people to be cut.
Yeah.
And
16 or
60, by the time you add up the LoSiP money.
Right.
And the state aid, and this is just one round of cuts,
Right.
there's probably more coming.
Right.
So it will put, with more kids going to the high school, with a reduced mill rate, or a reduced grand list out of the reevaluation, it will be a challenge year for the Board of Finance. You do see, I sent along, I've been working with other COG members on our regional legislative priorities, and we do have a meeting set up with our legislators soon. A couple copies of that. It actually hasn't been approved by the COG, so it's a draft, but this is where it's at, but it does mention in here the cuts to municipalities, and also trying to relieve us from some of the costly mandates which increase our cost of operating. Does mention the health districts and other bills that tend to waste time and money. So anyway, the COG towns are onto it, and we'll be meeting with our legislators about it. And that's that for now, until the other shoe drops. Richard and I are going into the cost meeting. Heidi's watching it on Skype or something, so.
Can I come here?
So we will let you know about that, and then the COG aggressively working on legislation this year, so.
Has the date been set, Gordon, for that?
I think we're gonna hear on the 12th, I think it's,
Okay.
we'll let you know when it is.
Yeah,
I
no,
think it's
I'll be there. Okay.
later in the month. So, speaking of budgets, I thought next week I've talked to Jim, and he's working on some highway numbers. We would get some highway numbers, and the bridge stuff start coming back mid-month, so work on that for our next regular meeting. And then we'll probably need some additional meetings in the end of January, early February to pull the budget together. But I thought also Jim is gonna be out for a while, he has to have shoulder surgery in first part of February, so we can get his numbers in and talk to him about that, that'll be good. So that'll be next
Does he have that scheduled?
I think early February.
He may be out of work for several weeks,
Yeah.
but still be able to do paperwork,
Right,
maybe, hopefully.
yeah, some ways, yeah. So anyway, so any other thoughts on the budget stuff? We have to get to the Board of Finance by mid-February, so we'll be busier at the end of this month. Let's see, Cornwall Bridge pedestrian crossing, I sent out an email from my new friend at DOT, Erica Lindberg, who's an engineer and is in charge of traffic for this area. And she's very cooperative and sent me some things about flashing crossing lights. Estimated the cost in some places around $10,000 to $15,000, which we do have a grant to do some stuff. So that's good. And then what she said was she'd recommend they need an engineering plan. We do something like that. So they recommended talking to Salisbury and Canaan, and they said DOT would help with some of the engineering of that.
It was more the engineering of getting the handicap access and
Right.
everything,
Platform
and
Yeah.
whatever you need to.
do.
Make
Incorporate
it ADA compliant to get everybody through the thing, because everything else was signage.
Right, but you have to put it on an engineered plan or something, have a presentation.
To put a sign up that says crossing traffic does not stop, you know,
No, not that, that signage is,
that was fine.
yeah, I think that was fine.
The engineer to help you with the actual crosswalk part.
The elevator.
They
Well,
put up a new sign in front of the post office, and they did one in front of Bonnybrook also,
For the crosswalk.
for the crosswalk.
Yeah, so they sound we did have that traffic safety audit, and they did seem receptive to, working with us to try to make it safer, more pedestrian friendly, bike friendly.
What I had mentioned was putting the red
Right.
bars coming
Yeah,
Right.
the reflective things, yeah.
on the stop
On the
signs.
sign, yeah.
They're helpful. A lot of older folks have said,
Right.
I don't notice either way, it is what it is, but if people in their, 75, 80 that I've talked to that drives there are like, they're very helpful, like they just make
Well, I
their.
think they also help if you don't know the sign is there at all, if you're not from the area.
Right, that's
it
what I mean,
stands
people
out.
that are not from the area who are like, oh, there's a stop
Right.
sign there.
Right.
So
It's just like that one extra piece of something that's reflecting back at them.
So just to reinforce our thoughts, I was 2 times coming out of Cornwall Bridge last week, I was driving north on Route 4 and they just blew right through the stop sign by the bank.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like,
All the
you
time.
They do
almost
that,
anticipate it.
yeah,
You
that's
know.
the
Well,
other,
they can see, because they can see who's coming there and they can see who's
Who's coming
coming
there.
there, so they're
And
gonna
they know they
hedge their
can-
bets.
They know they can get ahead of you,
Yeah.
so it's like we're all of a sudden we're
Yeah.
somewhere in NASCAR or
Need
something,
to plant some big trees so they can't see who's coming.
I guess. And then you can't see them either, so
Yeah, I-
anyway, so they seem to be receptive. I did meet with Dusty McMahon from the Goldman York Group, and we drove from Kent Falls up to the Triangle, drove around the Triangle with him. He has some ideas of plantings and things to make the area look good. And also the kiosk that the economic people are talking about putting by the store. So he's gonna have some thoughts to share by the end of this month, early February. Talked to James, Adele at the store. They were all pleased to have these things happening to make things better. And what I asked him to do is take a look at the whole area there, so if we do some modest things now, we're not undoing them later as far as, you know, there is extra parking perhaps at the firehouse. Town actually owns land between the firehouse and Bonnybrook. There's a row of trees there that we could take out some more if we wanted to eventually put a little sidewalk in and more parking if that's, think about places to park now that
People already park at Bonnybrook when they go
Right,
out to the market.
so-
I'm like, this is not public parking.
maybe it should be, you can subsidize Bonnybrook, you know, parking concession, but who knows, anyway, it just
There's
seems,
not that many left, like there's 10 apartments, 10 cars.
right, so it'd be good just to have some sort of plan for that triangle, and that's one of the things P and Z's been talking about, so. But they were interested in doing that, so they're gonna come back, and I'll let you know at the next meeting when that's supposed to come back. Probably meet at the market again to go over some ideas. Next is the Year of the Bridges, covered bridge meeting, and met last week with 3 people from DOT about the covered bridge project they're talking about in June of 2018. They are talking now of doing major work. We have plans here, are available for people to look at. They're basically looking at tearing up the decking of the bridge and replacing some of the pan. The bridge is constructed, the wooden planks that we all drive over, underneath there is the steel support which holds the whole bridge up. And there's a pan on top of the steel girders underneath the bridge. And that pan is corroded after 30-something years, so they're gonna try to replace the pan and restructure it. So that's a major deal, plus there's some concrete work involved with the bridge. So originally when I talked to their engineers a year or so ago, it was a week in March, now they want a month. So,
I'm like, when?
a month, they want June. So, I expressed to them our concerns that the bridge be closed as short a time as possible. We appreciate the bridge having a major maintenance every 20 years. Obviously, it's better to upkeep things and let them go, but I suggested they do like we did on Valley Road, put in incentives. They said they are gonna have incentives and penalties if it's not done on time. I said, what about giving them the ability, if not the incentive, to work, you know, early in the morning, late at night, because you've got good weather that time of year. They did hear that, but they felt there's also some restriction on what they can do with DEP spawning activities in the river thing, so I forgot exactly what that deal was, but anyway, that's entering into things.
That they can't start until a certain time.
Or a certain, it has to be, yeah, it has to be, they can't start till a certain time anyway. They're coming back And they're very nice people, and they wanted to hear what the town had to say. There is a bunch of input that they want to hear about, other than they obviously are gonna fix the bridge. But timing is some of the things, and I don't know whether they would consider doing it in the month of May would be better for people than June. That might be a possibility I thought of. They did have some thoughts on the beam rail. They wanted to put in metal beam rail. I said it'd probably be better to replace it with what's there now. Planking in the bridge, whether to replace it with planks or do glue lam, which is one continuous, like a plywood thing, so you wouldn't hear the cars in the bridge. Joyce she wanted to hear the cars coming through the bridge, because you can't see them, so you might as well hear them go clump, 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 and it makes it more rustic. So anyway, so there are some things that they want public input at, but I think the biggest thing is the closure. And as an addition to business and community impact, my huge concern is it cuts down emergency, the emergency service, especially,
Is
getting
it
to
gonna
river
be
rescue.
one, continuous closure, or could it be two?
It could be two, like a 3-week and a 1-week, but my feeling is it's better just to do it, because you don't wanna have, like, when this has happened before, the image of Cornwall bridge being the bridge being closed for this, here, a little bit here, a little bit there, is worse for businesses than, boom, you're gonna get it
Because
this
who
way.
knows when it's gonna be closed, I don't remember this week that way.
Right, and so people just don't go that way for fear of getting sick.
September, is that a possibility?
Yeah, I don't know, I'm not doing the work, I suppose that
It's
is,
that leaf peeping thing.
right, it's probably better
That's the day
earlier,
after Columbus Day.
earlier than late. And I think this is just the closure time, there's gonna be all sorts of little other stuff that's gonna happen through the fall or something. He said that they're gonna be, repainting and doing some of the other work on it. Right, but this would be the only time the bridge would be closed. So, anyway, he was fine with having it in February, so we have a thing in the Chronicle. People will know about it, so that should have a good turnout. But I would say he wasn't going for March. It's just March again. He wasn't going for March because he said up here March can be brutal. True.
May would be good before,
May.
just go before Memorial Day.
Right. Try to get it early. Yeah. So anyway, I'll call him up and just plant that.
I think there was some problem with that, with the.
I think the spawning thing, but
Yeah.
the thing I don't get about the
Fish,
spawning
yeah.
is that those are stock fish anyway. I think, why don't we, we could stock them pre-spawned or something. I don't know. Anyway, I will talk to my new friends. See-
There is something about they can't be in the river setting the
staging up.
until June 1st or something, May 20th, whatever it was, fairly late.
Right.
And then,
That's the problem.
and it's gotta take several days, a week or 10 days to set that all up, I would think.
I don't, it's just.
We did talk about it last time. There was some time limit with fish.
It's just incredible, yeah. So anyway, we'll pursue that. So that date is February 2nd, and they'll be meeting here at like 7 o'clock.
That's a public,
Public meeting, absolutely public. They have their nice PowerPoint of what they're doing. Plans are available here. And again, we'll put that in the Chronicle, I think it's 7 PM. And then they have a snow date the following Monday or something. Let's see,
what day is the second?
I think that's a Thursday, but I'm not, maybe wrong.
Is it February 7th is a Tuesday?
Second or
Second.
second,
Oh,
2/2.
2nd. Is it 7th? That's Thursday.
Thursday, and the snow date would be the Monday.
Groundhog Day.
Good,
And then the snow day is the 6th, you said, the Monday after?
right.
Yeah, so it's the 6th.
Let's see, then we have the Wook business. I sent you some stuff. The Aquarian wants Cornwall, and DEP wants parts of Cornwall to be controlled for their ESA area, so we're popular. I talked to Jocelyn, no, I talked to somebody else at COG who's following it. She's very good, goes to all the meetings, and she,
Joanne Brown.
what?
Wozniak Brown?
Yeah.
Oh,
Joanne, maybe?
Joanna.
Yeah, she's good. So she said what she would suggest is call up Aquarian, and Aquarian's point is if we just say they can keep their service area here, what they've got, say somebody wants to extend the water line down to Foot Fields, which we did, you know, just
Yeah,
across the street, then they have to go back through this whole process or some big process to get anything done. So what other towns have done is have them draw up a buffer map. So you don't get the whole town, but you get quarter mile, 500 feet, something around your existing service area. I mean, that does sort of make sense, I think. So anyway, so I've gone back to Aquarium with that idea. At least show us a map. What are you talking about? Because we weren't really interested in giving them the entire town. Okay? So there's some meeting in Brookfield next week, which I may go to on this process. We have a town meeting scheduled for Friday night on the steep grant. It's been well publicized, and that's at 7:30 at CCS. So hopefully there'll be good attendance to that. Next, Music Mountain Road bridge damage. Town of Cornwall owns a nice little bridge.
I saw this on the agenda and I'm like, really, the 10 feet that we own on that road?
We own a nice little bridge, with nice stone pillars.
but what's the damage?
Somebody ended 2016 with a bang and took out two of the stone pillars, put one in the brook, and the other one took half of it off.
So don't we
Damaged
get
their
to call
car.
the insurance company?
No, we don't insure bridges and roads.
No, but don't we get to call their
They
insurance
do, but
company?
unfortunately they didn't stick around or leave any indication who
Oh,
they
you're
were.
kidding?
No, the Fall Village town crew who plows the road came up with
And they were able to drive, well, they
Yeah.
were towed away, maybe they were towed away.
I don't know, they
No,
got
if they
away.
were towed away, you would know who it is.
Right.
You'd have some record.
Right. So anyway, Jim was up there on Saturday. I went up and saw him. He had the police come, and so they're onto it, and we're
In the
tracing
meantime,
car
we have to
parts
fix
and
the
stuff.
Was there
Um,
any
There was pieces,
color pieces?
yeah. But amazing amount that they could.
So do we have to do something right away?
Well, we've barreled it
Tear it
and combed it. The bridge itself, Roger inspected it, and the bridge itself is not damaged, no, didn't go underneath the
Oh,
bridge.
okay.
So that's fine, it's just the approaches which
Superficial.
we, had, that's one of the things we're gonna hear about is strengthening the approaches, so, yeah, so he's gonna meet with John Laporte to see whether rebuilding these nice stone pillars is an option, but probably we need to strengthen something with steel.
It's
Which is
actually gonna
it's-
stop the driver.
What?
It's actually gonna stop the driver.
Well, yeah, that hopefully will thoroughly damage the next guy, but
Now we know
it's
who
been a
you
long
are.
time since, that bridge
Huh.
hasn't been hit, and it's too bad, because it's a nice little, very nicely built bridge.
It is cute.
That wasn't what they were thinking at the time.
So was it, I can't remember, there was snow that night?
Saturday night,
Yeah, there was snow.
yeah,
We're
it
going
was
too
bad.
fast and just,
It was slippery, when I went up to gear, it was,
right,
people coming and going off the road on 63. So, it was slippery, but that wasn't the only problem that
right,
night.
excessive speed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So,
Huh.
that's that, that's
So it's
the end of
just-
2016.
Yeah, no worries.
That's in the works. Any other public comments?
According to that, you said that the Congress looking to eliminate certain mandates on the town.
Yeah.
Are there any particular ones that you're endorsing? Or?
Yes, you can have a copy of our, just for showing up, you can have a preview of our list. There's several, one is threshold for prevailing wages, that there's very little limit, so if the town does construction projects, whether it's a renovation or a new construction, they have to pay prevailing wage, which is basically very high wages compared to if you just bid on the open market for municipal projects. So they're hoping to raise the level that would apply to, so instead of having it be $400,000, it'd be $1 million project before it would apply. The second one is the minimum budget requirement for education, which says the town cannot reduce its education budget. And as 150 towns in the state are seeing decline in enrollment, it doesn't seem like it makes sense to say you can't reduce your school budget without penalty. So that's another one that's out there, plus there were other caps and things that were put on local governments that they thought they're going after, and so hopefully that will be given fair consideration.
Would it be possible to get Ruth to put a little thing in the paper about anyone who has information about who might have hit those
Sure.
posts?
If anybody knows who
No,
Just
ended
random
2000,
front-end damage.
some serious front end damage that might have been traveling on Music Mountain Road
Any passengers?
Saturday night,
None of them remember any of it, that's
let
the
us
problem.
know. So the state police are on the trail. It's always better to turn yourself in than have them find you.
And there'd be a reward.
There would be a reward.
Where is this bridge?
This is at the intersection of Cream Hill and Music Mountain Road. If you take a right and head down towards Music Mountain, Music Hall, it's only like 50
Cream
feet.
Hill,
It's
north.
only like 100 feet
Yeah,
east.
Cream
East way
Hill,
to the
where,
high
where,
school.
No, you're you're actually going the other way. You're going to the right.
Right, but so instead of taking the left to the high
Right.
school, you're gonna go right towards the theater, Music Mountain
Right.
Theater. It's
Okay.
that,
And there's
right?
nice little
Estern's house, right?
Right by
And-
the
and
corner
you
by
go-
Esther's,
Yes.
and Wismer lives in the Falls Village side.
Okay, so the bridge is right there? If
Right
you
there.
turn right?
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, that's the
It's like a
water
little-
that
it's a
makes
little
Dean's
fall.
Ravine.
You can't
It's the
miss it.
brook Dean's Ravines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. So,
Hmm.
that was that. Okay, so,
Gordon, the other question was, when do requests have to be in for the steep grant, for using the steep grant facade grant?
I would hope the committee would start meeting in January. So as soon as possible, I think Joyce is maintaining a list of people that are interested. But I would also hope that we don't spend it all, I don't think we're gonna allocate it all in one round. There may be other, for example, there may be some businesses that are getting going or whatever, so I think we may do it in several phases. But it'd be good to have people call the office and express interest as soon as possible.
And what do they have to do? Should they just call and
Call
accept it?
Joyce and
Or do they have to write up a proposal?
they can just get on the list at this point. It'll be up to the committee to see if they adopt the same guidelines as they've used in the past. So there's no point in going too crazy until they adopt the regulations, which should happen. I assume they use the same rules that we did before, but as
And
of,
they'll be published or made available?
yeah, they're available if anybody wants them.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And they're gonna focus on farms and farming this
Some of
time?
it's gonna be for
Agriculture.
some of it's gonna be set aside for agricultural buildings, and some of it may be for new businesses. And some of it will be for people that have done it before, but there will be some agricultural set aside. Okay, so then I'd make a motion, we go into executive session to discuss delinquent taxes.